I can guarantee that thing will not go anywhere in great
I
grandkids
can't wait to walk on it.
era.
Can we just get this plugged in?
Boardwalk, toward the
Why
boardwalk.
don't you go in?
By the end of next week, they may be done with that next section. From the intersection down to the big steps coming up from the bottom.
I can't wait to see the railings.
That's
So
what we're waiting on.
Wood post or steel post?
Wood. The only thing that's metal is the
Cable.
cable ones.
So can railings.
All right,
Okay,
ready?
yeah. Okay, let's call this meeting to order, and Rachel, roll call please.
Richard for those.
What?
If you're here.
Oh, I'm
Doug Cox.
Here.
Jeff Mulder. Here. Scott Reed.
Here.
Alvin Lloyd. Here. Here. Perfect.
Rachel, do we have anybody on Zoom?
Oh, we do not.
Okay,
Perfect.
excellent. Okay, did everybody look at the minutes? Any comments?
How much?
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
I'll
for the
second.
minutes.
Right. Rachel, any board communication?
No.
Oh, do we have to, do we have to vote to approve the minutes or?
No.
Just, okay. All right, and we obviously have no public comments. Zooming along here. Discussion items, parks visits. Did people get a chance to go to the two parks?
Yep.
Good. Well, why don't we go over Ford Park first? Does that sound good? You want to start, Sarah?
Yep, and I think some of these we kind of already touched base on. One thought that I had had, and it sounds like it's already been addressed, there was a couple of years ago where the grass was soggy. I don't know if there's anything that could have been done or if that needs to be something, but I know that there's gonna be some changes with that park, hopefully in the next 5 years. Is that an accurate timeline or?
Probably, yeah, the next
Okay.
5 years, like parking and kind of the flow of the harbor.
Yeah.
Commission will look at.
So you guys, I'll give a quick update from the discussion last night. Ford Park is slated for some renovation stuff after the Harbor Master Building
Okay.
project is completed. If, when, or whatever that timeline is, I know that is next on the plan for the Harbor Commission.
It's 2024, I think, on the Harbor Master Building.
Yeah, so you're probably looking at 25, 26 roughly for some things, but they are going to start this, once the Harbor Master Building is in play, they're gonna start looking and discussion. So early, sometime next year, probably discussions on Ford Park will start. So
So some of it will be about parking, right, or a good part of it,
I,
and circulation.
I believe that is, yeah, it means of egress in and out, parking. I think that's all part of the gig.
Thank you. I also was wondering about recycling containers, there. Obviously, a lot of people use that out for boats, if that would be something that would be utilized. And then also another thought was a spot designated for dropping off kayaks, paddle boards. I don't know if that very last spot can be, but that's a trailer spot. If that's ever been a
So
thought.
I'll let Karen address that, because the Harbor Commission Karen just brought it up at the Harbor
Okay.
Commission.
Okay.
You want me to tell you
Yeah.
what? Yeah, so they've agreed to look into doing something there, that last southwestern parking spot. There's room that wouldn't interfere with that crossway to Irish Boat Shop. So they're gonna look at what kind of service to put there, not gravel, because when I unload my board there, it's easy to drop and especially in the wind. So they're gonna look at the appropriate surface and maybe a sign to at least have that there temporarily until they can do something permanent when they redesign Ford Park. And I know you were gonna look at Elk Rapids, you said had a pretty interesting.
Now
looking
Lansing
survey.
has one. I want to say Elk Rapids, another
Yeah.
one that has a good one. For
Okay.
kayak. And I don't remember, you can probably tell us at that Harbor Commission, it won't be the last spot, right? They're gonna cut
No,
into
it
the
would-
grass.
Yeah, it would be on the
Okay.
grass, so it wouldn't use a parking spot, it would be on the grass. Yeah, did you have a chance or anyone talk to Lucas about? his
And I don't
input
believe
on it?
so. I'm
Okay.
not sure. Victor might have.
We're gonna try to do it by the summer if possible.
Nice.
Great.
Elsa?
Are you done? Yes, okay. I just think the park just kind of looks run down. If there's a way we can freshen it up just temporarily with some landscaping and even painting the building a lighter color to brighten it up a little bit, just kind of a refresh to get us through. And then,
I agree. Would you like to be on the paint color committee?
sure.
I don't know if that, I can't picture it right now. I know.
Isn't it like
Dark
the
beach
beach?
one.
Okay,
Brown
brown
beach
beach.
one. Blue.
Yeah,
Right before I started, so I don't know if we want to go with that system or something different.
yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I agree, some flowers there, something like outside the
Something just to
building.
brighten it and clean it up a little bit and make it more welcoming.
I agree.
We have sprinklers there. Do you want me to drop a little quick plan? Quick inexpensive plan?
Give me a day and then I'll think about it.
Somebody'd have to weed it then. We're back to that. All right, once you can find it. Anything else?
No, because of the plans to theoretically change it in a couple of years that, no, just repaving and I had other ideas, but yeah, we'll save them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Karen's idea about the drop off is good. I watched the Harbor Commission meeting, and if you can do something temporarily this year, that'll be great. The other thing that I've heard as feedback from the community is the boat launch, and this is part of the Harbor Commission. It's not really our responsibility. If they just had a stop and start sign at the boat ramp, because people are telling me, they can't bring their boat in because so many people are going out. If there was a sign that they could just, it doesn't have to be a light or anything, but just flip it and say,
It's general.
You know,
boat
stop,
etiquette, which a lot of people
yeah.
have.
because people, I've had a number of people complain about that. And then, I just think if picnic tables and things like that would help. Great, thank you.
I thought about, I think there's some interesting history with Ford Park. Would it be fun maybe to talk to the Historic Society and see if they wanna work with us on getting a plaque made up, and then maybe also like a thank you to, what's her full name, Ford?
Josephine Ford.
Yep, just a little history blurb. And we like to partner with other groups. Let's see, I think it would be nice along the water to add maybe 3 or 4 tables. So do we have some slated to go there, Rachel?
Yeah, I think a couple go there, but I don't know if they go along the water, maybe 1 or 2.
I just think it'd be
Not many,
nice
though.
for people that are, well, having lunch for one thing. And then like people that are waiting for outfitter for a kayak
Yeah.
thing, or
Is the ferry
waiting
coming
for
back
the
in?
ferry.
Yeah, so I do have on the list, and I've had it on the list, a bench for people waiting for the ferry. 'Cause there's nowhere to sit if you're waiting for it. So that's been on my list for quite a while.
On the dock
One
itself,
bench isn't gonna
or
get very far.
where are you thinking for that?
I'd have to talk to the Harbor Commission because to be along there, how that system works with the ferry. Though when I started, the ferry wasn't, it was under construction or something. It was damaged. So I actually haven't seen the ferry work since moving here. So I'm not sure how the system quite works. But I know they're coming back
Ferry
this year,
into the
right? And it's a
dock there.
bigger,
We're not gonna do the bigger one.
it's not, okay, wasn't sure.
Be the current, the one they had
Okay.
last year.
I think it'd be nice to have a bench where the kayaks go in and out,
Yeah.
because
And the adventure-
families meet there.
The nice thing about a table is you can get 8 people at a table, if we do the green tables. Where a
I don't have a
bench is-
green table to put there, but I would have some wood tables to put there.
Yeah, so that's probably fine for now. Let's see. Another thought too, though, is if we do want green tables, why don't we try and get the ferry to donate one? And then maybe get the outfitter to donate one, since they are using the city property for their businesses.
They're paying a fee to do that.
They are, yeah,
Little bunch, yeah.
maybe they'd like to. Or we could just wait, we're having it, I think we're gonna talk a little bit later about the Friends of the Park thing, and parks wish list. So we could, these tables, the green tables could go on a wish list too.
Yeah, we can also like, at the end of the year, like I asked Nick for small projects that aren't CIPs that aren't, $10,000. Like I have them put them in. So if we have like a plan, like we want 2 picnic tables here this year and this year, like I can ask for that stuff. The next budget. I just can't, like I just have to know ahead of time, like we have to have a plan for that. Cause in the spring, I can't spend money on things that weren't planned necessarily.
I think four would be a great number. So I don't, and it'd be nice to have them
Well, how
there.
many are down there currently?
I want to speak a little bit to the picnic tables by the water. There really isn't a lot of space there.
Yeah.
And I know that the big green space that is on the south side of the building does get kind of wet. I thought that could be a potential for picnic tables there where there's more space. There has been always a older like wooden picnic table that kind of sat, close to the yacht, the kayak launch dock there, but it was kind of in the way of things. So as you get a little bit further to the east, there's even less space between the parking and the driveway and the water. So I thought that maybe a solution there might be benches, but if we could put more picnic tables in that green space, if it's not too water laden, that might be a nice thing to do because they can still be by the water. But I think we just have to look at how much space we can really allocate because if people are launching their, because I have a kayak down there too, and you're trying to launch your kayak and you're
Gets
trying to
busy,
move
yeah.
around, big things like picnic tables, it can be kind of cumbersome. That's true with stand-up paddleboards too.
Would we start with 2 then and see how that works?
If we can do 2, but I think benches would be a nice, I like the idea of having a bench there for the ferry dock coming in and out, people waiting. But it would take a long bench, because I think that thing would hold like 40 people.
So I'd like all of our benches along the waterfront to be consistent. So they're
Yeah.
all green. They're all the ones that match
I like that.
Marina Park.
I like
They're all the same, like the one on
Yeah.
Zorn and then or Soul, and then when we redo the ones on Zorn, those will all match. Then the city benches, because the ones for Marina Park they're very nice, they're fairly expensive. Will be different. They'll still be green. So those will be consistent, like within city, like along the blocks and stuff. And then, like the ones on the hill, like Judd Hill, we're replacing those. So those will all be consistent. But yeah, like as time goes, we can get the green ones from the park and we can cement those in, or we can just place them. It doesn't really matter. So.
Are we thinking benches might be better for Ford Park then?
Well, along the water.
Near the
close to
water.
Near the water.
When you're in by the building area, I mean, 2, 3, 4 picnic tables in and around there.
Do you think people would use them though, really in
I
the
mean-
center area?
I mean, there's a grill there. I don't know if I've ever
There's
seen
a
anyone
grill
use it, but there is a
Around the
grill
Fourth of
there.
July, that area
Yeah.
is used
I
heavily.
was gonna say, like, but what
July.
Allison is saying, like, you have a grill and you have picnic tables, but it's not necessarily an inviting area by any means.
So do we start with a couple benches, couple tables, if that goes on our wish list?
Mhm.
And then following along with the grills, so there's like 5 grills there and they really look kind of crappy. And so do you think anybody grills like on the water side of turnaround drive there? I think if anybody's gonna grill, they're gonna be more in the center part,
4th of
like
July,
on those ones by the water.
they're all being used.
So,
And the only reason I know that is that parked fire truck there and watched fireworks.
okay, nice.
That might be a
So
good,
Everything.
could we talk to DPW about what's involved in rehabbing them?
yeah,
Like they're crooked, they just, they're peeling, they just look
if
crappy.
they're like bottoming out and they don't have a base, you usually just need to buy a new one. And I just know from past experience that they're really expensive to ship. So when you get them, you should wait till you need like 6 of them. Otherwise, it's not worth even the shipping on them. So that's something where if we order grills, we really look at all of our parks and say, how many do we need? And then get them all together. Otherwise, we're
Need
kind of.
one.
But that would be a good question too, because, Bob, Tomo's gonna be down there this summer. And I don't know if Mary Jane's coming back, but there's gonna be presence down there, so I think we can get
Yeah.
better input on how often the girls are being used, things like that.
Or Karen, if you want to talk to that.
Yeah,
Harbor
I
Commission.
mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a couple of us kind of look at the spacing down there
Yeah.
before any final decisions.
Yeah.
At least for this year. Because when you look at the space, you realize there's really not that much of it when you're, especially when Josh is dropping up like 6 kayaks, which all lay in the grass right there.
Yeah,
I mean, you try to get a kayak off a rack, you try to carry it to the launch dock, whatever, it's not a lot of space. But I also would be curious about how much water is in that big space, the big green space by
It
the
just
building.
depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
Because
And
It's
it can be
fine.
kind of
I
wet in
think it's
there.
fine right now.
Yeah.
It can be, because I know I've gotten wet people walking through there before.
It's all spring fed. That's why it gets wet.
Uh-huh. So maybe we could take a look at it before any final decisions are made. I'd be happy to do that with somebody.
Let's see, then also by the water is a decaying birdhouse. And I don't know if it's, what do they put swallows to eat mosquitoes by the water, I don't know, it's a
How long
thing.
has it been there?
Is it a birdhouse or a bat house?
The birdhouse.
I think it is a birdhouse. But it either, I don't even know if it's worth painting, frankly, but we could put that on our wish list.
Yeah, I don't even know who put it there. I'm like, yeah, I'm hesitant to touch something when we don't know where it came from or what value it has to somebody, you know? So maybe the Harbor Commission would know where Cal last
down
JV.
there.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever.
Things
noticed it.
do have a useful life though, and, yeah, maybe go look at it and see what you think. It's pretty bad. Then, I don't know if this is the time to talk about trees, but I think it might be nice to put a couple of trees along the waterfront that would be shade for people waiting for the ferry or people waiting for kayaks.
You'd want to wait till they remodel the park to
Do you
do
think
it.
anything though on the water side of the drive is
I would
gonna?
wait to do anything until they remodel it. I would just hate to plant trees and then I don't know enough about boats and how that whole system is gonna be in the future.
Yep, okay, that's fair. That's what I have, Jen.
You guys have touched on anything I've had, plus I'm just kind of waiting to see what the new design configuration is gonna be before we got, but I like the idea of at least some tables down there.
Yeah, some site
Yeah,
furniture.
and we could probably do a joint meeting with the Harbor Commission when those discussions start getting more in detail about like trees and really, you know what I mean, and what we're gonna do
For
down
the
there.
redo, you mean?
Yeah,
Well, would we ask them to pop for some picnic tables and benches?
well, we would have to, I mean, the Harbor Commission doesn't control the waterfront budget either, council does, so.
That they would make the recommendation, right?
Correct,
Not
yeah.
us.
So it could just be one joint meeting of what parks would like to see down there versus what the Harbor Commission needs down there for boat traffic. And then,
I mean, for this summer or in the
no,
future?
in the future,
Yeah.
when, yeah, when I'm
Yeah,
saying like when the
that'll be a-
remodeling comes,
Yeah.
comes to that point.
Yeah.
But
we don't want to wait until our next June 10th meeting to make decisions about picnic tables and.
no, I just mean about planting trees and things like that.
Could we-
Any major changes
Could
that
we
we want to see in the
Could we
park.
go to the next Harbor Commission meeting and ask them about, would they buy some stuff for Ford Park? We don't have to like get too greedy, but like 2 tables with umbrellas and 2 benches.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I have to go technically to the Harbor Commission for that.
Who do you have to talk to?
Cause that's
Yeah,
something
we
that
have to
would,
Go to,
regardless of what they do down there. That's something that will always be used there, so. Regardless of design. So,
You
Again, I
wanna
think
try
be,
and run it down?
I'd be careful about putting too many picnic tables or even 2 or trees in that limited space where you're launching kayaks and.
I think
I'm
we're talking
talking
about
about the
picnic
center.
tables.
the
for the
center, yeah.
For the center,
Yeah, that,
yeah, I don't think we need any more along the waterfront right now. Other than a couple benches.
yeah, that just would be good, because people like to sit and watch people come in and out too. The benches.
Just to watch the boat shows.
To watch the boat shows, yeah, but just like.
People not knowing how to back in and out of the water, that is hilarious.
You could, yeah, set up a lawn chair and then have fun all day.
Oh,
Yeah, people do that.
Okay, Karen.
Well, we've covered the things I was most concerned about, but I wondered about another trash can as well. Seemed like we need one of those. Recycling would be great if we get, I know that we talked about that last time, but we could have an agreement with recycling center, waste management to have a recycling down there. That would be really nice. And I know we have one bike rack down there, but I didn't know how heavily it was used, if we might need a second one down there.
as
Are
well.
there two? Because at one point they were, it was on the actual, right by the dock, and then it got moved over to the other side of the building.
Yeah,
So there's just one.
I think there's
I'm
just
trying
one.
to
and it
visualize.
moved,
Okay.
yeah.
It looks kind of askew too, kind of like a little crooked. So I might need to look at.
Yeah,
that
we
too.
need full bike racks.
That's it.
I really can't add anything more than what's already been said. My priority was some kind of a plan and parking situation. That's really a troublesome area. I would like to see a bench or table down by the water because a lot of families come in paddleboarding and they want to change clothes and that sort of thing. That would be very nice. And I like Sarah's idea about a recycling. Or maybe two or three of them, actually. Because people coming out with the boat have trash on their boats and,
Beer cans, maybe.
yeah. Oh, really?
Some kind of an aluminum can.
That kind of aluminum.
All right.
Just one other thought that just made me think of, is there like a designated like walkway, like from where the pedestrians can come from the building to the main dock there? Has there ever been any idea of marking that off?
There's a one.
There's a
There-
sidewalk.
yeah, there's
No,
a-
like across the road, I'm saying, sorry.
No, just that crosswalk where the trash can is going across would
Okay.
be your only.
There is a crosswalk.
There is actually, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was trying to remember that. I know there's been.
It's
a lot of
hard
times
to
that's
tell
kind
when
of-
you have a bunch of trailers. It's-
Right,
It's like the
right.
heat of summer, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, but there is a stop sign there too. When you come around, you stop where that trash can is and then you go through. I think there's a sign for something to stop.
I'm just thinking, I know lots of times we've been back and forth from that dock to the
Yeah.
bathroom and having to walk way around trailers. You know, when people are kind of
Yeah.
flying up on the other side, if there wasn't already a designated.
Yeah,
We actually built the new sidewalks in there. We put that cross in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So is there a
Just thinking
sidewalk
about
on the circle side
The
there?
path, yeah, we rebuilt the path
So
for.
there's a
to
path
get
that
to
goes to the building.
Which is great.
Rachel, I know you've got a lot of stuff on your list here, but would it be possible to talk to DPW about ideas for the grills just to?
yeah, I have it on the list,
To
yeah.
Allison's point, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on to,
I have one comment. I agree with what everybody said and things, but I think the best thing is what Allison said. If we painted the bathroom building to match the harbor master color scheme, I think it would change the vibe of the park. From, kind of that dark and old building there.
to like paint it white.
Right, I mean, I'm just saying,
So you can paint-
your idea, I think, was the best. I think, I love that idea. And all the other ones are good too, of course, but that would really change the feeling of the park.
Brighten it up.
Yeah. I mean, now it looks scary a little
Yeah,
bit.
it does.
Well, then there's.
Well, it looks like a water processing plant or something.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a
Bathroom.
Yeah, harbor master or anything, and so I mean, and those hedges are so big, and I don't know what, it's scary back there. So I think that's a great suggestion.
Is there anything on the wall right when you walk in? Now, of course, it's like all hindsight.
Inside the building.
Yeah,
The wall
I don't know,
inside
like
the
there's some
building.
kind of, yeah.
It's like pale blue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, like there's nothing
Like,
really inside the building.
I don't know
Yeah,
what it looks like.
And
Inside
there's
is
something
white,
laying around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it
inside
pale
is white.
blue?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like a pale, so we did that restroom when we did the beach restroom, so it's like a really bright white, all the brick is painted white, and then the stalls are like a dark royal blue, like plastic, so it's really bright inside now, because the floor even got redone, and that's like a light gray and speckled. So yeah, so the outside of the building doesn't reflect what the inside of the building now looks like.
Well, just one other idea, you could keep your eyes open at then and now and see if there's any like, water pictures or boat
Yeah.
pictures, just to put inside,
Right, yeah.
brighten it up.
Shaper?
Shape Park, why don't we start down with picnic then?
I don't think much should be done there, really. Maybe picnic, a couple picnic benches, a bench. A lot of people walk their dogs there. And also the Historical Society uses it. I don't think much needs to be done there.
Okay,
I agree with Dick. More picnic tables, benches. But is there actually a grill there? I didn't see a grill. So we might need a grill. If we're gonna do bulk buy of grills. It would be nice to have a grill there.
I don't know if there's better places for grills. Do we need to have grills at every park downtown?
Well, if we have
Yes, I know.
picnic tables there.
Just a thought.
And I think too, the Ford Park does get pretty crowded. And they run out of space. So people could be across the road. Because you still get a view.
I don't think much needs to be done there than just a couple more tables, it gets used quite a bit by dog, people as they're walking their dogs or people at lunch, so.
And are the food trucks still gonna be parked there again? Hey.
That's their designated spot, so if they come to town, they'll be right there, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, sorry. Welcome, no worries. I did not know that. I'm happy to see you. Oh, I'm happy to be here.
You didn't get the memos?
I did not get the message.
Rachel, how many tables do we have planned to go there?
I think we usually do about 3 for like the food trucks. We try and keep them all in that close knit area.
Another reason for more picnic tables in that area.
Are there going to be food trucks again?
I don't have any on the docket right now. A lot of the places that were there, like Harbor Lake Grove, a really good one. The other one was there, Florencio and Olivia. They now work for Gypsy, so I think they're just stationed there now. And a lot of the restaurants don't have the staff to have their restaurant going and the food truck.
Right.
The other ones are permanent fixtures at Asking now.
Yeah, so it's like the backlot version.
We put a back lot in Charlevoix too.
Mhm.
Right?
So yeah, it's unfortunate. And Harbor Light, he said some weekends he did really well and some weekends, I don't know if it was just like a little too far out of downtown. You think with the boat launch, most people would see him, but maybe it was just kind of like an awkward spot or what. I was just surprised he wasn't busier because they have great food. So
I think it is kind of out of sight, out of mind.
a little bit. Yeah, I know that. I know people weren't a fan, but that carnival one last Memorial Day, we're super busy. So,
I think people just need to know if we're gonna have them or not.
yeah.
I mean, I had a conversation with some people over the weekend, like, did we actually do food trucks at Marina Park? I mean, why don't we have them there?
We can't have them there.
Can't have-
Yeah, but I thought we had allocated some parking spaces at one point.
They can't be food trucks. They can be Harbor Eats, so they can unload and go in that corner, but it can't be a food truck.
So it has to be down by Ford Park.
And that's hard because then you're parking and like you're unloading and then, to have staff too, it's the same predicament.
Is there
So
a way to kind of design spaces so that we could have more than a couple food trucks by Ford Park and
it's up to council.
Shea Park?
Yeah, I think council's the one that approved those ones by Shea Park, I would assume.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 years ago.
So here's something I noted, there's only 3 parking spaces there. And
Yes.
where do people park if they want to go there? Did they park over at
Ford
Ford Park? and walk
Right,
across?
yeah, and then they walk
If there's
across or, yeah, that's something, it's just kind of an awkward, and also like you have the Irish. Staff that park there, so you have to block those spots off, make sure the truck can get in. And they're available.
So I
There's no
wondered,
good spot around Harbor Springs for food trucks.
no, I don't think this is bad except for exposure, but Rachel, could we explore like adding 3 more parking spaces, like going towards Demers?
I could, I don't know if that's a parks, I'd have to talk to Lucas or Victor.
Is there a fence there that kind of prevents the parking?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
you
further
don't-
down, you could add maybe a couple. You
You
could add
could.
3, but
There's, Ford Park's always filled if you don't have a trailer. There's.
Do
very
you
few
think there's a
parking
fire
spaces.
hydrant there? Maybe.
Hydrant's in front of
Literally
Irish.
across the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's no parking on westbound thing.
I'll just put
And
adding.
there's no parking on Judd. So, that's it.
That shot is narrow.
We got our own back lot.
Unless we did something on Judd, like, well, I don't know, maybe let's just start with this. Jim? I would like to discuss the elephant in the room for the locomotive at the park.
I haven't heard anything about that. So
I
nothing's
know,
been
I'm
brought.
just concerned that they're going forward thinking that's where it's gonna go and.
I think it is going in that park somewhere.
Well,
Supposed to go on the corner there.
the Parks Board wanna, have an opinion to pass to council, or it doesn't matter what we think, I don't know.
How big is it?
There's views like straight
Smaller
through to
than
the
the-
water, I just hate to.
Smaller than
stick
the
it-
Smaller than the boat.
I don't,
Do you have an image of it so we can see what it looks like?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do. I'll see if I can find it, I'll forward it.
How long is it? Do you think?
It's smaller than the boat.
Yeah, it's shorter than the boat. I don't
It's
know. I
probably
guess,
half the length of the boat, I'm gonna say. And it, I mean, it's not 6 feet tall. I mean, it's really small.
Well, maybe if you tucked it up against the hill like the boat is, where you'd be looking over it to the water. I can't see it at all though, like down towards Bay
I
Street.
think they had it that way because that's where historically the train track
Train,
came
that's where
through. We're
the-
trying to have it exactly where the train track would come through.
It's somewhere in that corner, the preliminary thing I seen a
Which
couple years
corner?
ago.
Northeast corner?
It'd be that, not where the trash,
Southwest.
yeah, southwest corner,
Southwest corner.
where the trash can is, right? Now,
Put it right on Bay Street then.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like northeast corner better.
so.
So do
same
I.
here. I think we can talk about the corners, but I personally like the idea of it going in there. I mean, you have the boat, there's nothing else going
Well, it's kind
on
of
there.
The idea behind that park, I think, has always been the historical
I also
type of
think
things.
if no one else has it on their list, I see a lot of bikes run over the grass to get to that boat. The shade boat to read the sign. I'm not saying we have to have a walkway all the way around the park, but it would be nice to pave something so people can go through, because they're just trampling the grass over there. If you look at it, it doesn't look great. And it's just gonna get worse. It's gonna turn into dirt.
Once we know where the train's gonna go, we can design one way.
Yeah,
Once we know where the train's gonna go.
Yeah, maybe just put like a little walking path or such, something simple.
so my first thought about Shea Park was
Yeah,
a bike
just a
rack.
couple more
Oh,
things.
I'm sorry.
Yep, this is a tree board thing and a Victor thing and a staff thing. But they are weed whipping the bases of the trees at that park. And it's eating through the bark, and the bark is what the conduit for nutrients and water and all that, so. I brought this up about 200 times. And I think we just gotta, if you wanna talk to Victor too, those
Is it
trees,
just that
all those
one,
new
or is
trees
it
are
all
gonna
of it?
die,
Is it all the parks or just that park?
all the parks.
Okay.
So I've been trying to push it in a more labor, but just putting a little small circle of mulch just so they're not string trimming the trunk. There's some lawn repair too that needs to be done, like on a slope over by Demers. I guess that's what I had. Scott?
Well, my first observation was, a bike rack, because that park is used by bicycle people. But today, there's a bike rack that's for the electric bikes, and wider tires. And I think that would be important to get,
Looking at one of those for down by the marina.
yeah, it's supposed to
Yeah,
be
we need those everywhere, because that's.
new
the big-
style, new
Going
style.
out of bike business right
Yeah.
now, Z-bikes.
And then,
Yeah, I see them everywhere.
yeah, I said additional parking spaces, picnic tables with umbrellas and trash containers, which I think everybody agrees. But this bike rack thing, yeah, I guess they're at the marina. Mike told me they're getting a bike rack for electric bikes.
Yeah, I've talked to Mike about it.
Yeah.
I think
But
that's a
even
good
this week,
spot.
there was a dozen electric bike people in front of the restrooms in the parking lot, standing there.
I think it's good, as is. This is gonna, I know this is ruffles a lot of feathers, but any thoughts of if it is gonna be this historical corridor, historical park, where we've got a train and we've got a boat, an idea of putting something that's like a small historical little playscape for kids somewhere in a corner around there. I'm thinking like a Lansing has that little train, that's a place for kids to play. I know the playground
we're back on the beach. We're still lacking a playground downtown for people to access. You know, people don't go to the beach to play in the spring and in the fall. So if there's something, maybe just an idea, and that, I don't know, that's something that the Historical Society had some ideas on.
I know the historical sites, I've talked to Kristen a couple times, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, so when I first started, I went and met with her. And that used to be where the fire department got all of its source of water, correct?
Well, it used to be the old city building,
Correct, okay.
the old Quonset building used to. sit right
Yeah,
there.
but that's like basically where like the whole supply of water for the fire department was. So she has mentioned to me that like her vision is like a fountain or something like along those lines that basically like is dedicated like to that history of like something kind of cool.
Sure.
You know, that isn't necessarily like a playground or something, but like a feature, yeah, nothing like that, but like some sort of feature, just kind of like how you're saying, you know, like something that's like talks about the history, but is also kind of fun.
Right.
We had at Cider Mill in Northville, this train with, it probably had 10 cars, we wouldn't need anything that big, but the kids just were all over that thing.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things, yeah, as the park progresses, like once the locomotive goes in, we know what that looks like, and then we can kind of, it's a beautiful green space. We definitely don't want to take away from that, but I think it can still be, you know, something that brings the history, even
A
if,
little more interaction
Yeah.
opportunity for, you know, with the park itself, so, yeah.
Okay. Great. Rachel, do you want to go over the marketing?
yes. So
brochure?
I met with, well, Molly Baker and I worked on this for a while, actually, it's just kind of been on hold. It's a passport to adventure concept, and Karen brought up a really good comment, just to kind of kick this off, that maybe this would be a great opportunity for a subcommittee to kind of hash out the details on how it'll work, and then the subcommittee comes to me, and then I communicate with Molly Baker. She has a very good idea of what we're looking for, like this has been discussed for about a year now with her, but just some final details. So basically, it's a brochure that has an insert that we could change yearly, like for programs, big projects, things like that. But basically, it's just like a brochure that we wouldn't change year to year. You would see it, people would know to pick it up. Locals, people visiting, it would have a map of all the parks. It would have programs. It would have showcase, like history of the parks, basically whatever we wanted to put in it, whatever we thought was pertinent for people to know. The layout, we have like a layout of it, how we'd like it to look. I told her I didn't really want it to be super serious, but I didn't want it to be like just for kids either. You know, I want it to be fun, but for even like adults to grab so they know where they're going to parks. For the graphics, we'd use the city logo. We'd go with kind of the city colors, you know, parks green, royal blue the city uses. Contact info would be on a page, the listing of the parks. Maybe we don't put all of these, maybe we do. And then the amenities at each park, there could be like a table with like what every park has, like where there's a playground, where there's, you know, picnic tables, where there's restrooms, things like that. Photos, and then the passport part of it, I thought would be cool because people can either do it or they cannot do it. It doesn't matter. Like, look, grabbing this brochure doesn't hold you to doing this. But on the map, they can visit like the chamber, they can visit Topo Nexus, they can visit City Hall, and they'd get a sticker for each place they visited. And then at the end, they get like a water bottle that has like the parks logo on it. You know, just something like kind of fun. And then like water bottles, you can like get in bulk. They're not super expensive. I don't know. I just thought it'd be cool to get people engaged and just more active in our community and what our family programs are.
We do something similar to encourage them to visit all the parks.
Yeah, well, and that's what the passport deal kind of gets. And we could even put the boardwalk in there, you know, just kind of things that if you were visiting, you wouldn't know Kiwanis is there. Like you wouldn't know to go up there. You wouldn't even know Harbor Springs has a disc golf course. So that was kind of my thought process with it, is it gets some, you know, people see Marina Park, they see the beach. Those are fairly obvious, but not everyone knows at Zoll Beach, you could take your dog there. That's not common knowledge to someone who would be visiting or even resorting in the area for the summer.
I thought it'd be really nice to have some kind of grid in there where you'd have the parks and then across one axis would be well, there's picnic tables there and there's restrooms there and
I
there's.
think
this
that
and
was there,
that.
Rachel was talking.
Yeah,
you
and,
can do a kind of a little grid so people can really say, oh, I want to go do this, or where's the beach, where can I swim? Where do
yeah.
dogs go? And then you look down the grid, you see.
Right,
Yeah.
and I even got a good email from someone, she must have saw it on our agenda about parks etiquette, you know, like when the parks close, and if you're at Marina, if you're at Shea Park, let's say we did put a grill in there. No, don't be there till 10 o'clock at night, you know, things like that, and like there is recycling in the parks, please use them. Kind of things like that, kind of like how we're doing for the noise committee, with being a good neighbor, like be a great parks patron or something. But I think it has a lot of.
Chamber for activities at the park.
Yeah, so I think it's something we've talked about that we've never really gone too into, but I think now's the time to explore it. I mean, we have a lot of big projects coming up that we should be excited to announce to people and tell people like we're doing things and, you know, we're making small improvements to our parks. So I don't know if anyone's interested in being on the subcommittee.
I would be interested in it.
Bueller?
Yeah.
I'll do that.
One concern that I have about brochure
Yeah.
is the printing and the cost. I would love to also incorporate a way for people just to hit on a QR code or,
Yeah.
you know, I hope this would be posted on the Harbor Springs website.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the fact, that we don't want to put a whole bunch of paper out there if we can help it.
I like that.
But I think another big goal is to let the community and visitors know that we have a lot of parks here. It's not like we just have a couple parks. We have
Right.
a lot of parks here.
Mhm.
And that message can come across
Yeah.
well in something like this. So I think we just need to balance the use of paper with using a little of the electronics, you know, the
Yeah.
capability.
I agree.
And it helps with what Scott's been talking about with dates, like we can pick all of our event dates for the year and put them on here. You know, the sledding events obviously are for weather, so you'd have to say like follow our Facebook page for updates or something like that.
Well, that could be on the insert page.
Right,
that changes every
exactly,
year.
but it gives everyone like, this is what we're doing for the year, you know? And obviously we'll stick with the social media, like posts like we always do, and then we'd have the QR code option, I like that. As well, but
So this was like, what was it, 7,000 to develop?
yeah, I can go down to that.
Yeah, and then printing depends on how many we want to get printed. But then I think we also have to have a strategy that this committee could talk about on how to get this into people's hands.
And it's something that I would like to.
Residents.
Yeah, and I'd like to have this happen relatively quickly because it's gonna take time for Molly to put this together and get it printed.
Mhm.
And I'd like it done by, you know, mid-June, you know, we wanna have them out when
I
people
mean,
come
like
to
this coming
town.
mid-June?
Yeah,
Oh, that's like a month.
so,
from
but
now.
she has a lot of things already. Like the subcommittee is really like, we could sit down with her and say like, what do we want
Sure.
to do? And she can pretty much run with it. Like I said, I've been talking to her about this for quite some time. But it's something I would like to do this summer, if we think that is possible.
Oh, you get like the IGA gas stations.
Right, yeah, I
Coffee
mean,
shops.
The
I
outfit.
the
wonder
Harbor
if
Master
you
Building, like there are a bunch of
send
places. But,
I went home with kids in a packet from school.
the schools, yeah, I mean. a
Well,
bunch
the
of
outfitter, but we need to recognize that we serve a big area, it's not just city. So
Yeah.
the Highlands or, you know, places
The
where
little
people are
Denver
recreating.
kiosk.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, the Best
hotels even.
Western.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had-
hotels around the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something they can work at in the committee. So
Okay.
Karen, anybody else?
I will.
Okay.
Great.
I can if you need help, but if.
I also think even new residents, like we find new people like moving to the community,
Do
having
we have a
like.
welcome wagon here?
Well, we've talked about doing, the city's talked about doing like a welcome package, basically, that gives them like your friendly neighbor packet, like all this, like that could be included in it, so people know.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you two and I can talk about what works best to meet and
Okay.
how we wanna do it.
Okay.
Perfect.
If the thought is you're looking at the stickering, if you're trying to avoid having to have a person there, I don't know if there's an idea of a letter at each station that spells a word, like some other places
Oh, I like
do.
that, yeah.
So that way you're not worried about somebody's physically there. And then, and that way you can almost get people up to Kiwanis or
Mhm.
somewhere else, because it's just a
Yeah.
letter on a sign.
Another
somewhere.
challenge, what's the word?
I mean, and maybe.
Scavenger hunt.
Yeah, kind of a- I was thinking stamps instead of stickers, just for printing reasons. Like having a stamp, like a park stamp, and that's what it is, okay. Wanna make sure. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Good, thanks for doing all this right now. That's pretty cool. Okay,
Great idea.
moving on to the project matrix. Do you want to go through it?
Yeah.
Or I can.
Well, it should be fairly quick. Some of these we're already
Yeah.
working on. Waterfront geese control, that's ongoing. I feel like we all know that's a very big top priority. I have spoken to Mike Johnson about the possibility of geese away lights. They're basically lights that don't, humans aren't bothered by them, but they flicker. They don't flicker, they blink at night, and geese don't like to nest around them. And you can put them on docks, you can put them on buoys, you can put them on beaches, and it's like 100% guarantee. Golf courses use them, the last parks department I was at uses them.
Is nesting the problem though?
Hmm?
Is nesting the problem? Isn't it just like eating and pooping?
Well, that means they're nesting within the area somewhere. So we're just kind of
Fall
looking.
was really bad.
Yeah, the only thing with them is I know Mike has a big thing with seagulls and they don't do anything for seagulls. I think Zorn, I don't know if the dogs have done, I haven't noticed them this year yet, it's still early. I've been moving the decoy around now.
There's not geese, yeah.
So, yeah.
By the way, this is the document everybody got just with some things
Yeah.
highlighted, you know, the ones that
The
got
big
most
ones.
votes, yeah.
Recycling receptacles at all major parks. So what, we're looking to do, what I'd like to do this year, as opposed to Jana, is start with Ford and the beach only. Just because Mike Johnson, his crew are the ones that cipher through that recycling. And I'm
So
gonna be
it's
the
already
one
at
that ends
Marina
up
Park,
doing the
right?
parks. Yeah, so it's already happening at Marina Park.
Yeah. and-
I just don't wanna take something on that we can't control or do properly. So I'd like to start with the beach and Ford and see how that goes. And then maybe when the skate park is remodeled, we do the skate park, cause that is staffed. When we do sell soda there, they do take care of the cans. And then Kiwanis, the disc golf course, there is recycling and Trevor takes care of that, So I will get a hold of Emmett County and see what we need to do to get a bin or how that whole system works.
One thing to keep in mind too is the contract with recycling. What, next year? Is up next year. And
Are they looking at a change
it's possible,
to where people would take their own stuff like?
would
to-
take on their own, depending on, I mean, it's a budget topic, so. As much as we love it, but it's,
So it could be a site furniture type of thing, similar to the trash. Right?
so,
Right.
but, I mean, for right now, I think we got another year or
Beach
two on the
and Ford would
contract.
be simple enough. Ford to make it a little much, because I know Bob will be working down there. I don't want it to become his problem of emptying it and all that. But the beach, I think we can easily do. We just might have to speak to whoever's working at Ford Park and things like that. Cause I could see that having a lot of GANs, that being big. But
It's packed in Marina Park every.
yeah, all the time, and that's my point. I don't want it to get to the point where it's so packed. I want to recycle, don't get me wrong, but I don't want overflowing bins that we can't, manage
Well, if
properly.
they're not in recycle, they're gonna be in the trash bin
Exactly.
overflowing.
Yeah, so,
You gotta pick it up.
right, but. And then community outreach, we're working with the marketing plan, the brochure, we just went over that, so that's all ongoing. I think we do really good with Allison reaching out to the schools, the local newspaper, we have a fairly good relationship with. I know the tree board, Dan and I spoke, the tree board does like a tree corner. Not every month, but they put an article in the paper. And sometimes they have things to say, and sometimes they don't. So maybe to make it more consistent, we can partner with them in some way, and maybe it's Parks Board and Tree Board. So it's
Maybe do like
more,
every other month. or
yeah,
something.
every other month, kind of trade off.
The other thing we just
Story.
added to, is a little kids corner in the, Kid Canopy articles, which is fun, and it'd be especially good, I think, for parks.
Yeah,
So we did have an idea about a first article, and I thought maybe I'd rough it up and send it out, but about Friends of the Park, and maybe like start to talk about what our wish list might be and go see the city website for that, and then Rachel's gonna work on a component for the website where people can click on it and see what the options are.
I think I have it highlighted on here, so I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
And then funding, apply for grants yearly. That's feel like we're doing that, fairly applying for grants when we can. And then survey and update township participation. The thought is there's no great way to do this, but maybe do, yard signs.
Like we did at Marina Park.
And like we did at Marina Park, or I said the Marina Committee did it, and have a QR code. And the first question is, you know, are you from the township? Are you a city resident? Are you a visitor? And then we can gauge, and then we can have other parks questions as well, like their shuffleboard, like we were just see shuffleboards. I know we've talked about that a couple times. And have that be a way to gauge like where people like the City Beach, Marina Park, Jean Jardine, people like Zoll Street, Kiwanis, the major ones to gauge what the township usage is. So we can update those sharing costs. I don't know a better way to survey it than
There's
to.
really not
do-
best way.
I mean, yeah,
Best way to do it.
so I think that's our best bet. And again, that would have to be something that happens very soon before the parks get busy. I didn't highlight it, but Friends of the Park Group. So what Deanna was hinting at, so there's a Parks Department. I don't remember off the top of my head. It was years ago I looked at it. They have a whole page on their website, and it basically is like a wish list. Like, let's say they need 4 picnic tables. They're listed with the amount, and someone can donate and like contact the Parks Department and say like, I would like to donate like one of these picnic tables or benches or umbrellas. If you need extra umbrellas, they can donate. And they're all different prices. Some are like game box stuff. Like if we needed more basketballs, someone can donate basketballs. It's like a $20 donation versus, you know, something that's $300. You can also do like a volunteer sign up. Like these are the dates we have, like planting flowers and all this, like contact the Parks Department to volunteer. I think that would be helpful because I think people do in this community want to be a part of our projects and our events.
Just don't know how.
I just think they don't know when and they don't know how all the time. So it might benefit us to have options for people to get involved.
I think that's a good idea, and I like here's $20 for basketball or $50 for this, so you know exactly what you're donating.
Or some
So-
people might just want to put money in a fund too.
Yeah, or donate their time, you know, and
Cleaning out the garage and found a box full of whatever.
Oh, that too,
right.
yeah.
I mean, they might have helmets, like the skateboard, like you just don't know until you throw it out there for people, like skateboard, scooters, things like that. So I'll be working on that and trying to get it onto the
Do they
website.
need helmets and scooters and stuff at the
Not right
skate
now,
park?
no.
Okay.
I was just using an
We got a lot.
example. No, we got a lot. So that's what the Friends of the Park would kind of be, like a whole website page. I kind of have a draft, but it's not ready to show. Sorry, month of May is kind of crazy. But I'll have something for the next meeting that we can go over as a draft and then we'll put it on the website.
And then a sample article for the
Yeah.
paper. So we could maybe even like take turns writing those articles. You know, we could decide on a topic for the next month.
And then the bike fix it station, I have one in mind, so that's in the works to go up. It goes to Quat Park. So that's ongoing.
It'll be the only one we have. so
For
far.
now, yeah. And then, Dan's Green Set Up came and did Marina Park, last week or 2 weeks ago, so that is complete. And then Bose came and expanded the, flower beds in Marina Park. He's gonna come and trim some of the rest of them up, so they'll all look uniform and nice. That's
So he
all.
will edge the other ones. for
Yeah.
Chuck.
Yeah, he's gonna send me a quote before he
It's a
does
big
it,
help.
but it'll be fine, cause he's not expanding.
Well,
them,
you know
edging.
that what they did looks so
Mhm.
fantastic now and it just
Last I
makes
told
the other
him, he
ones
did a
look really
few
good.
and you were like, well, you did a few and now the rest don't look as
Yeah.
nice. They had to come back.
It's a big help in terms of.
I think it's just gonna be something we
Yeah.
will pay to do every
Yeah.
few years.
Back to Marina Park,
Yeah.
do you have Harbor Eats signed up again for anyone signed up again for Harbor Eats?
Mhm. And then Zorn City Beach, the playground installs ongoing. We're still working with the advocacy group to move forward. And then that Zorn railing, so I did get a quote from Harbor Fences in my director's report. It came in over $10,000, around 13. So that'll be a CIP project. So we will have to add that to our list. I'll get some other quotes I'll have to from a couple other fence companies. Petoskey Fence, and I think Lucas said there was another one in Traverse City, so.
Do we have to wait until next year or is it on the list?
No, it's not on the list. We'll have to wait to add it in the fall to the list.
I just feel like a big safety thing maybe could get squeezed in somehow. Any thoughts from council on that?
Not really
They go in, they
at the
have to
moment.
get graded. I mean, they have to get graded, like when we put in CIP projects, there's a committee and they grade them, so it has to go through that whole system in the fall to update them.
Rachel, just to replace the railing
To
is $10,000?
replace what's there, that rope with the posts,
Yeah.
to do a railing with aluminum posts and the wire, yeah, it's $13,000.
So it'd be a similar look to what we're doing on the boardwalk with the cable railing.
It's pretty,
Keep the
it's
views
expensive
open.
though. DPW did just redo the rope and the post, I mean, it's the same type of, but it looks nice.
It's just something we gotta put something there so kids can't follow.
Amazing how much fence costs,
No, I know.
because the one we're putting back in up on Bluffton State, I'm waiting for that to get built right now, it's like 13,000.
Wow.
Right in the corner.
Oh,
there
where their
they
sidewalk
rebuilt that
is.
sidewalk.
Wow.
And how much was that?
About 13,000.
Wow.
And then Rachel's found out there aren't a lot of fence companies in town anymore.
There are not. No, Petoskey fences, or not Petoskey,
Pepper fence.
Harbor fences, I mean, the main,
We need two, I'm gonna shoot for three.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt, and even if one's a little further out, you never know. And then harbor view, brush takedown, DPW is aware, we want that done for 4th of July, likely they'll handle it, maybe won't need volunteers, but letting up that changes, just because most of that brush is fairly large. We'll use equipment, things like that. And,
Rachel, before you leave this.
yeah,
On the bike fixing station.
yeah,
I just wonder if it's better off to be down by the waterfront. I'm just thinking like, how many people are going through the park up
a
there
lot,
in the skate park?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about people coming into town, they're coming along the waterfront, they're coming through Weekly, down Bay Street, down to the marina.
I asked Mike what his thoughts were about having one next to the Marina building, and he didn't feel it was needed. I mean, that doesn't mean it's not needed from a park standpoint, just the bikes that he's noticed. My thing with Coziquah has a lot of bikes go through there. A lot of people use that as a trailhead. And
Yeah.
they use the skate park restroom
Mhm.
an awful lot.
I remember,
Um,
just look at all the people coming into
Mhm.
town.
We could definitely look into ordering, not
Yeah, we could do
opposed,
two
ordering
of them.
two, yeah.
Even put
Are
it
they
in
allowed
Ford
money?
Park.
You can get different ones too. You can get some that have more equipment on them than others. I was gonna get the ones that Petoskey has on there.
Yeah.
What if they're
Yeah, they're good.
mid-grade? They're not the nicest, but they're not the
or wait and
cheapest.
see how this is received.
Yeah.
I mean, is there really a need for it?
One of Petoskey's used
Yeah.
quite a bit, and that's the next closest one,
Mhm.
I think, on the trail is Bayfront
Right.
Park. So one definitely should go up at Coziquah at that trailhead.
I don't think a lot of people coming to town necessarily go that way because of the bike path.
But if you had it down in Jean Jardine.
Well, I'm
right at
thinking, because the bike
corner.
path is gonna go past that. The county approved that easement to go through there, so that is where the wheelway is gonna come through the ball fields and down, and then under this building. They did approve that, so that's what we'll fund for. So that was the thought. So it'll make more sense once it's completed.
Right. But if we could do a second one downtown, I think that.
Okay, good. Anything else on the project matrix?
Did you send out the highlight?
No, I just
Okay.
highlighted them, so we
Okay.
hit the important ones that were realistic to get done the next
Okay.
couple of
Those are the
summers.
ASAP ones.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's benches and stuff, but that'll maybe end up on the wish list. type of thing.
And then the director's part's
Yeah.
long, sorry.
That's good, you've been busy.
So admin updates, so city council, the planning commission, the DDA are doing a joint meeting at Holy Childhood next Monday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. It would be great if you all can attend. If not, I understand. It's gonna be fairly like focus group type, like conversation. There is gonna be a moderator. The boards will speak a little bit, but it's basically just about economic development in the city, like small businesses, residents, like how everything kind of ties together in between the development boards. Then at Nubs Knob, they're doing an event June 8th at 4 p.m. It's enhancing communities through outdoor recreation.
This is through Harbor Inc.
Yep, Harbor Inc is putting it on. I'm presenting on the behalf of the Parks Department on our projects. So that is open to the public if you were interested in that.
Will you send that out as a reminder or something? please?
And then,
Refreshments and food.
and then the Highlands of Harbor Springs chair auction fundraised $75,000 for the Ted Swarthout Memorial Skate Park projects. We got that check
Great.
last week. So that is amazing. Thank you to the
Going
Highlands.
down the road and try this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, too.
And then the boardwalk is coming along great. The observation deck is near completion. I obviously wrote this a while back because now there's wood across the whole thing. It's scheduled to still be finished before the 4th of July. We have 453,000, well, 454 basically, fundraised. And we have received the funds from the Boardwalk Preservation Group. So all good things are coming together there.
Yep.
And then, we're still in discussion about summer yoga classes, but it does look promising. So that's still, just like with the weather getting warmer, how we'll work through that, but that likely will happen. Lots of park updates. Oh, May. So, as I said, the marina flower beds have been expanded. Dan's Grease side came up Wednesday, May 24th. So next week is planting day. Tomorrow I'll be at Marina Park if anyone's free to weed and get everything set up for the planting day next week.
What time are you gonna be there?
11, 10:30, 11. I want to warm up a little. And then I have lifeguard training Friday, Saturday, Sunday, along with the other lifeguards. Amazing news, we have 14. We have a lot of lifeguards this year. And then Lynn and I are starting a junior program, so there'll be 2 or 3 junior lifeguards. They're just students who aren't old enough to be lifeguards yet. So kind of get them in tune with the process, and they can change trash cans, restrooms, do other projects along the park. So that's perfect. And the beach restrooms, I'm gonna open Memorial Day weekend. They'll be open on the weekends and then farmers market mornings. But until staff starts, when school gets out, we're gonna kind of keep them.
When is farmers markets?
Memorial Day weekend, I believe, yep. And then the pickleball nets are up, courts are cleaned off. We have 2 picnic tables going up there with umbrellas. They should be here in the next few weeks, so those will go up there. I told you about Harbor Fence, and I told you about Harbor View Park. Our maintenance positions, Trevor started this week down at the disc golf course, getting that all cleaned up. Rob starts next week. DPW will start getting all the trash cans out. It'll start to look like summer more and more as you go through town. And we're adding a trash can to Zorn Park. It's a request from the farmers market, but it'll get used. We're just gonna put it in that walkway. It probably should have been there anyways, no issue there. And then a couple comments I had that aren't on here. Program updates, Arbor Day Fest is Saturday, May 27th, 11 to 2. So if anyone wants to volunteer, anyone has any general comments, let me know. I will be there for that. I told you the easement for the wheelway was approved by the county, so Victor is working on finalizing that with Jim Raymer. We made it to around in DNR where they chose our projects to come out for a site visit on Friday. So that's huge. Yeah, because they don't site visit all of them. So that's huge.
Which, grant?
Both of them.
Oh.
They're gonna visit both. Alex is gonna visit both while she's here.
Okay.
Vanessa Warren and I are gonna meet her up there at 1:30 and go
Great.
through. There is a huge fly. Sorry. So we'll go through that. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and then we took the city logo and created a parks logo out of it. So when you see those t-shirts, those are park staff,
I like it.
right? Thank you.
Very good.
It was the parks logo on Rob's t-shirts was like the DDA logo, and that said parks. It's very confusing. So we're just gonna change it up a little bit.
I like that. That's good.
So yeah.
So what else you been doing?
All the things, all the things.
Much. Okay, anybody else have any new business or to talk about? Good, let's adjourn.
Margaret, weather's getting nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we need. That was good for you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Nice to see you're finally earning your money.